You don't think that a calorie is just a calorie, right? That's not your, like there are people who are like calories in versus calories out. That's not what you think.
A calorie is just a unit of measurement. So a calorie is a calorie. It's like saying a mile is not a mile. But the problem is a mile walking uphill is a lot different than a mile walking downhill. You can actually retrograde the starch in a cooked potato and turn it into what's called retrograde resistant starch by just cooling it off. Allowing it to return to room temperature is one option, or you can just throw it in the fridge.
And what does it do? What's the benefit of that?
So it's a really powerful food source for gut bacteria.
You don't think that a calorie is just a calorie, right? That's not your, like there are people who are like calories in versus calories out. That's not what you think.
No.
Do you think that? I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I do think calories matter. I do think they definitely matter.
Source that it comes
from. Energy balance matters, but so does the source of the calories. A calorie is just a unit of measurement. So a calorie is a calorie. It's like saying a mile is not a mile. But the problem is a mile walking uphill is a lot different than a mile walking downhill.
100%. So if I had a Mars bar, for example, which is 180 calories versus having, a piece of salmon that's 4 ounces, 5 ounces, there's a difference in how your body metabolizes it, or you tell me
there is a difference. Yeah. I mean, 100 calories of protein is only going to yield about 70 calories.
Right.
Because protein has a much higher thermic effect than fat or carbohydrates, for example. Calories,
I like what you just said, though. That's so true. A mile up versus a mile down, very different.
Very different, right? 100 calories from broccoli is going to be a lot different than 100 calories from Oreo cookies. So where the calories come from absolutely matters. And that's not something that I feel like is discussed enough amongst fitness circles.
Well, that's why I wanted to. I think there's a lot of people. There's 50% of the people who think, your body. I think it does affect your body composition. That's my take on it. But there are people. That doesn't matter if your diet's at 800 calories. It doesn't matter where you're getting those calories from. I do think it matters. I think for your how you're going to optimize your brain, your overall energy, it makes a big difference. That's my opinion.
Well, I think everybody would agree at this point that. The thing is, sometimes you'll see headlines like, nutrition professor proved that you can lose weight by eating only Twinkies, right?
Right. Or like the Subway dude
yes. Yeah. When you control for protein, it really doesn't matter from a weight loss standpoint what the other where the other macronutrients come from, carbs and fat.
Right.
From purely the standpoint of near-term like weight loss and body composition, right? As long as we're controlling for protein, because protein is what helps us maintain our lean mass. So if you're talking about just losing weight from your body, which shouldn't be anybody's goal, right? Then it really is all about calories. But if we're talking about losing fat, then we want to control for protein so that we maintain our lean mass, and then dial down the fat and carbohydrate intake. But does that mean that you can fill out the fat and carbs with like the if it fits your macros model of just like whatever else crap you want to eat? No, because your body still needs micronutrients that help keep you young. And that's going to reflect in your skin. It's going to reflect in your metabolic health. It's going to reflect in so many aspects of your existence.
Yeah.
That I'm absolutely 100% an advocate of being mindful where your calories come from.
We were saying this earlier, but like for a vegan diet, right, or a vegetarian diet, I still, no matter how many people come on this podcast or I speak to like in my regular life, I don't know where they're getting enough protein. I don't. Well, broccoli has protein. Broccoli does not have enough protein to build lean muscle mass.
Absolutely not.
But I don't understand how this is not more common knowledge.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know who's out there saying, certainly people are saying that broccoli has enough protein.
Well, vegans and people who don't eat meat, they're like
very low quality protein, not, appropriate.
A lentil, though, lentils have protein. Yeah, but you're not, if I want to build muscle, is it more, maybe it's more of you're the journalist, maybe you've done way more research, but I'm talking from experience and
I live and breathe this stuff, yeah.
Right? Like, I think if I need to like lean out and like build muscle, I need to eat salmon, chicken, meat, like
Yeah.
Like animal protein, fish. Like, I don't know where you're going to get your protein from if you're a vegan.
Yeah. I mean, soy is fairly high quality, actually, if you can believe it. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Also, legumes have protein.
Also lots of carbs in there.
But also lots of other non-protein calories.
Right.
So if you're trying to lose weight, that's where that becomes relevant, right?
Yeah.
And not everybody's trying to lose weight.
But people want to be more muscular,
Yeah.
have more lean muscle. As you get older, who doesn't want to have more lean muscle mass?
There you go. The highest quality protein is bar none animal protein. It's like the protein scoring method that is currently in use to determine protein quality has shown us that, like, whether it's chicken, beef, fish, eggs, dairy, the best of the best, really. And soy is up there. It's not quite as high as animal protein, but soy is decent quality from a digestibility standpoint. It's not something that I would, eat regularly, but no, animal protein is definitely the way to go.
Right. You're also a big fan of whey protein. In your book, you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of whey protein. I take it. I use whey protein isolate. It's got a great amino acid profile. It's very easy to hit the leucine threshold of 2.5 grams of leucine, which we need for muscle protein synthesis.
Which brand do you like? And then the other thing, first tell me what brand you like. I'm curious to find a good one.
I currently use, there are two brands that I go back and forth with, and I have no financial affiliation with either. One is a brand called Muscle Feast, which is a funny name.
Oh, I never heard of those ones. That guy or that.
Muscle Feast. It's on Amazon, and I get the whey protein isolate. Like, the vanilla, I think, is pretty good. The problem that I have with a lot of these protein powders is that they're too sweet.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just buy the unflavored versions.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw what you said in your book. This is what I was going to say in your book that I also learned about chocolate protein, chocolate flavor versus vanilla. That chocolate is more, what was it? Like, it was more arsenic, no.
More lead.
More lead.
Yeah.
In chocolate protein versus in any brand?
Well, it varies brand to brand.
But why would chocolate have more lead, or there was something else in it too?
Cadmium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lead, because chocolate can be a source of lead and cadmium for people.
Really?
Yeah. It's, these are very small amounts.
Right.
These are lead and cadmium are neurotoxins. So they're heavy metals that you really shouldn't be ingesting. So
people should have the vanilla protein.
Yeah, vanilla.
Or plain.
Vanilla. You're safe. You just don't know where they're getting their cacao from in these protein brands. They're not like chocolatiers, right? So they're probably just getting like the cheapest of the cheap cacao flavoring or whatever. And so there was I believe the study was done by Consumer Reports that found that on average, the chocolate flavored versions of these protein powders had higher levels of lead and cadmium. Now, are they levels that are really worth worrying about? Probably not. But if you're consuming this like every single day, then maybe you do want to be concerned,
The other thing, so let's talk about this other thing. I was like, wow, this potato thing, having a cold potato versus a hot potato.
Yeah.
And well, I didn't know that either. Talk about the potato. Like, can we go over give me a few of these like food hacks?
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Absolutely. So Genius Kitchen is full of this stuff, but
and the olive oil. Okay.
Yeah. Potatoes are, when we cook them, we create a highly digestible form of starch, right? Mm-hmm. A raw potato is rich in resistant starch. It's resistant to digestion, and we have to cook it to break that starch down so that it becomes available to us as a calorie source. Well, you can actually retrograde the starch in a cooked potato and turn it into what's called retrograde resistant starch by just cooling it off. Allowing it to return to room temperature is one option, or you can just throw it in the fridge.
And what does it do? What's the benefit of that?
So it's a really powerful food source for gut bacteria. Really good for improving insulin sensitivity. So this is like, a lot of people struggle with insulin resistance, but I think primarily it's like a fiber source, but it's a really potent fiber source for gut bacteria. That your gut bacteria, these microbes that live in your large intestine, they consume this resistant starch and they churn out metabolites like butyric acid, which is a short chain fatty acid that's known to be really quite anti-inflammatory. So you end up getting this firing up this like anti-inflammatory drug factory in your gut by eating resistant starch.
So you take a potato, you cool it down for how long?
Yeah, you bring it to room temp. You take you bring it to, and you could notice that there's a texture change in the potato. It starts to like gel a little bit.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's not so fluffy.
It's not so fluffy and grainy. Yeah. You could also throw it in the fridge, and like one meal prep tip is you can batch make a bunch of potatoes, and throw them in the fridge, and then use them later on in like scrambles or for like, future meals, because you'll already have retrograded the starch in the potato. And so
that's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's a good food hack. And potatoes are not the only starch that have that ability. Rice can become retrograde resistant starch. One of the reasons why sushi rice is great. It's like cooked and cooled rice, right?
Right.
You could do the same thing. Not that I don't eat pasta, but like, or wheat-based pasta, but you can do the same thing with pasta. I believe legumes are another source of resistant starch. So cooling your starches is a really good strategy.
And so the benefits would be, like you said, for insulin.
Also like less carbs, like less of a glycemic impact of these foods.
Those are great.
So you take the same potato, one is freshly cooked, one is cooked and cooled. The net carbohydrate content of the one that was cooked and cooled is less than the freshly baked potato.
That's a great one. So if I take French fries and just cool them down, does that work too?
You could potentially.
Yeah?
Yeah, baked French fries. Yeah, you absolutely could.
Or I was thinking more not baked.
I wouldn't do not baked because of the unhealthy fats,
And the oils. Well, the other ones, like you were saying, like let's talk about the olive oil. Like people are blending these olive oils without even, would I not know if it's blended? Because you're talking about like olive oils that have been blended.
Yeah, you just want to look
so it'd say like extra virgin.
It would say blend, yeah.
What are the best oils to cook with? Coconut oil? Olive oil?
I don't really
avocado. That's what I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
Avocado oil.
Avocado oil is great. Yeah. Coconut oil is great. Butter and ghee occasionally I'll use, but primarily it's extra virgin olive oil and it's avocado oil. It's a myth that you can't cook with extra virgin olive oil. You can,
the smoke point though, I thought was not high enough.
It's not super high. It's higher with avocado oil, but for low to medium heat, it's perfectly fine to cook with extra virgin olive oil.
So let's talk quickly about foods that are seemingly considered to be healthy for us, but they're actually not healthy, but people think that they're super healthy.
There are a lot of those.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your top two.
Yeah. I think agave syrup is one of those that a lot of people think is healthy.
Do they still think that's healthy?
Well, I'll walk through, not to bring up Erewhon again, but like.
But you have to.
Yeah.
Do they pay you on the side? Come on.
Absolutely
they
not.
should.
No, they definitely don't. I've never gotten so much as even like a meal credit.
They should. You should be on some kind of like retainer for them.
No, I've never gotten anything.
Really sad.
Yeah. But yeah, lots of products in there or in Whole Foods will still like proudly promote that they're sweet. It's sweetened with agave syrup. Yeah. I think it's got a health halo on it. I don't know, because people perceive it as being natural. It comes from the blue agave plant or whatever. But yeah, it's like 80% fructose, which is just this like pure isolated sugar that has a metabolic effect on the body that, when we're eating it in this extracted, isolated form, it's not good.
Isn't maple syrup so much better than that because it's a natural form?
Yeah, maple syrup is better. It's still very calorie dense.
Yeah.
But yeah, maple syrup is a better option.
And honey?
Honey's good. Honey's good. Yeah, they're all different. There are a number of different.
But there's a lot of calories in all of them, and a lot. It's all sugar.
Yeah.
It's like pure sugar.
Yeah, I'm very pro. Like, I'll use like monk fruit, stevia. There's a lot of people that like for some reason don't like certain sugar alcohols, like erythritol. Mm-hmm. Like I'm super on board with erythritol.
You
xylitol.
are?
Yeah, I am. I think erythritol is great. Allulose is another good non-caloric sweetener.
Yeah, people are not like, why is that? Why is there such a bad?
Because here's the thing, some
unhalo on those things.
Yeah, some sugar alcohols. Mm-hmm. I think people have bad experiences with certain sugar. Sugar alcohols is like a category. There's a million of them. There's like tons of different sugar alcohols. Right. Maltitol, sorbitol.
The bloat is supposed to be bloating as well.
Oh, it does. If you eat too much of certain sugar alcohols,
right,
you'll get like crazy like gas and diarrhea that you've never experienced in your life. If you overindulge on some of them, and they use these sugar alcohols in various, sugar-free processed foods, like dietetic foods. And so people will think that it's like a free ride. They'll eat lots of whatever it is.
Right.
Like I remember there was a chocolate bar that Trader Joe's used to make. They probably still make it. That's a sugar-free dark chocolate bar that I used to buy. And it had a lot of it was like sweetened primarily with sugar alcohols. with these in
with
particular.
these ones, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember not like being all that aware of what was in them. And I would just like overindulge in them. And I would notice I'd get so bloated afterwards. And I was like, is that the chocolate or is that something in the chocolate?
Yeah, right.
That's causing this effect. And it's like one of them. It's like sorbitol or maltitol. I think those are the two primary.
Sorbitol is Splenda, or otherwise known as Splenda, isn't it?
No.
No, it's not sucralose. That's sucralose. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're right.
But sorbitol actually is, I believe it's sorbitol that's naturally occurring in prunes. One of the major reasons why prunes are such a powerful laxative is that they're very high in, I believe it's sorbitol, but if it's not sorbitol, it's one of these sugar alcohols.
Really?
It's naturally occurring in prunes. Yeah, a lot of people think that prunes have this effect of making you go to the bathroom because of the fiber. It has nothing to do with the fiber in prunes. It's like almost like a drug-like effect. If you eat enough prunes, you're within an hour you're going to be sitting on the toilet.
Really?
Yeah. And it's because of the presence of certain sugar alcohols in prunes. But
I didn't know that.
But what's important, I think, the nuance here is that not all sugar alcohols have that effect.